Before I begin today's video, I'm going to need you guys to go and hit that subscribe button. Thank you.
What is up, everybody? You already know who it is. It's your boy, Mucho, and I'm back today with a new reading from the Holy Scripture. Different day, new day, same shit, just, a new reading from a chapter from the Holy Scripture. That's what it is. Today is day 31, and we are going to be covering Exodus 32. Oh my gosh. To Exodus 35. It's a huge reading. 32 to 35. Let's begin. The covenant broken and renewed. It has only been a brief time since the Israelis enthusiastically accepted the terms of God's covenant and vowed obedience to his laws. Yet their commandment was apparently more of a matter of emotion than a sincere dedication. Sincere dedication. For with Moses gone up into the mountain only a month, the people asked Aaron to give them a tangible God to worship, an idol. God, of course, has specifically forbidden such worship. Nevertheless, Aaron is persuaded and built a golden calf, which the Israelis worship. God's response is one of anger, and Moses must intercede on behalf of the people. Moses' own reaction is also one of anger, as is witnessed by his response to this disheartening turn of events. Yet God is forgiving, and with firm repetition of his laws, he agrees to renew the covenant. Aaron makes golden calf. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods. Who will go before us? As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him." Aaron answered them, "Take off your gold earrings that your wives and sons and your daughters are wearing, and bring them to me." So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf, fashioning it with a tool. Then they said, "These are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt?" When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, "Tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord." So the next day the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings. Afterward they sat down to eat and drink and got up to indulge in revelry. Never heard of it. God expresses anger. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go down, because your people who you brought out of Egypt have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them, and have made themselves an idol cast in shape of a calf. They have bowed down to it, sacrificed to it, and said, 'These are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt.' I have seen these people," the Lord said to Moses, "and they are a stiff-necked people. Now leave me alone, so that my anger may burn against them, and that I may destroy them. Then I will make you into a great nation." Moses intercedes. But Moses sought the favor of the Lord his God. "Lord," he said, "why should your anger burn against your people, whom you brought out of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians say, 'It was with evil intent that he brought them out, to kill them in the mountains and wipe them off the face of the earth? Turn them into fierce anger, relent, and do not bring disaster on your people? Remember your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, to whom you swore by your own self, I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and I will give your descendants all this land. I promise them, and I will be their inheritance forever." Then the Lord related and did not bring his people the disaster he had threatened. Calf destroyed, tablets broken. Moses turned and went down to the mountain with 2 tablets of the covenant law in his hand. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. The tablets were the work of God. The writing was the writing of God, engraved on the tablets. When Joshua heard the noise of the people shouting, he said to Moses, "There is a sound of war in the camp." Moses replied, "It is not the sound of victory. It is not the sound of defeat. It is the sound of singing that I hear." When Moses approached the camp and saw the calves and the dancing, his anger burned, and he threw his tablets out of his hand, breaking them into pieces at the foot of the mountain. He took the calf the people had made and burned it in the fire. Then he ground it to powder, scattered it on the water, and made the Israelis drink it. Aaron denies responsibility. He said to Aaron, "What did these people do to you, that you led them into such a great sin?" "Do not be angry, my lord," Aaron answered. "You know how prone these people are to evil. They said to me, 'Make us a god who will go before us.' As for this fellow Moses who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him." So I told them, "Well, whoever has any gold jewelry, take it off." They gave me the gold, and I threw it into the fire, and it came out into a calf. Executions by Levites. Moses saw that the people were running wild and that Aaron had let them get so out of control and so become a laughingstock to their enemies. So he stood at the entrance of the camp and said, "Whoever is the Lord, come to me." And all the Levites railed to him. Then he said to them, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Each man strapped with his sword on his side, go back and forth through the camp from one end to the other, each killing his brother and friend and neighbor." The Levites did as Moses commanded, and that day about 3,000 of that people died. Then Moses said, "You have been set apart to the Lord today, for you were against your own sons and brothers, and he has blessed you this day." Moses intercedes again. The next day Moses said to the people, "You have committed a great sin, but now I will go up to the Lord, perhaps so I can make atonement for your sin. So Moses went back up to the Lord and said, "Oh, what a great sin these people have committed. They have made themselves gods of gold. But now, please forgive their sin. But if not, then blot me out of the book you have written." The Lord replied to Moses, "Whoever has sinned against me, I will blow out of my book. Now go, lead the people to the place I spoke of. My anger will go before you. However, when the time comes for me to punish, I will punish them for their sin." The Lord struck the people with a plague because of what they had did with the calf Aaron had made. God manifests displeasure. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Leave this place, you and the people you brought up out of Egypt, and go up to the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, 'I will give it to your descendants.' I will send an angel before you and drive out the Canaanites, Armites, Hittites, Perizzites, Havitites, and Jebusites. Go up to the land flowing with milk and honey. But I will not go with you, because you are a stiff-necked people, and I might destroy you on the way." Anointments removed. When the people heard of these distressing words, they began to mourn, and no one put on any anointments. For the Lord had said to Moses, "Tell the Israelis, you are a stiff-necked people. If I were to go with you for even a moment, I might destroy you. Now take off your anointments, and I will decide what to do with you." So the Israelis stripped off their anointments at Mount Horeb. Horeb, the tent of meeting. Now Moses used to take the tent and pitched it outside the camp some distance away. calling it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside of the camp. And whenever Moses went out up to the tent, all the people rose and stood at the entrance of their tent, watching Moses until he entered the tents. As Moses went into the tent, a pillar of cloud would come down and stay at the entrance, while the Lord spoke to Moses. Whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent, they all stood and worshipped. Each at the entrance of their tent, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as one speaks to a friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his young Asad, Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent. God promised. Present? What? Right? God promised presence. Moses to the Lord, have you ever been telling me, leave these people, but you have not let me know whom you would send with me? You said, I know you by name, and you have found favor with me. If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways, so I may know you continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people. The Lord replied, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Then Moses said to him, if your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here. How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us? What else will distinguish me and your people from all the other people on the face of the earth? Moses sees God's glory. And the Lord said to Moses, I will do the very thing you have asked, because I am pleased with you and I know you by name. Then Moses said, now show me your glory. And the Lord said, I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you, and I will proclaim my name, the Lord, in your presence. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live. Then the Lord said, this is the place near me where you may stand on a rock. When the glory passes by, I will put you on a cleft in the rock, and cover you with my hand until I pass by. Then I will remove my hand, and you will see my back. But my face must not be seen. God reveals character. The Lord said to Moses, chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and I will write on them the words that were on the first tablets, which you wrote. Be ready in the morning, and then come up on Mount Sinai, present yourself to me on top of the mountain. No one is to come with you, or be seen anywhere on the mountain, not even on the flocks or herds, or made graze in the front of the mountain. So Moses chiseled up 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and went up Mount Sinai early in the morning, as the Lord had commanded him, and he carried the stone tablets in his hands. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and stood there with him, and proclaimed his name, the Lord. And he passed in front of Moses, proclaiming, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and the children for the sin of the parents to the 3rd and 4th generation. God renews covenant. Moses bowed to the ground at once and worshipped the Lord. He said, if I have found favor in your eyes, then let the Lord go with us. Although this is a stiff-necked people, forgive our wickedness and our sin. Take us as your inheritance. Then the Lord said, I am making a covenant with you before all your people. I will do wonders never before done in any nation in all the world. The people may live among you. See how awesome is the work that I, the Lord, will do for you. Warning against treaties. Obey what I command you today. I will drive out before you the Aramites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land where you are going, or they will be a snare among you. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and cut down their Azarite poles. Do not worship any other god, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Be careful not to make any treaty with those who live in the land, for when they prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to them, they will invite you and you will eat their sacrifices. And when you choose some of their daughters as wives for your sons, and those daughters prostitute themselves to their gods, they will lead your sons to do the same. Second tablets written. Then the Lord said to Moses, write down these words, for in accordance with these words I have made a covenant with you and the Israelis. Moses was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights without eating bread and drinking water. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments. Moses veils his face. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the covenant law in his hand, he was not aware that his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. When Aaron and the Israelis saw Moses, his face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called to them. So Aaron and all the leaders of the community came back to him, and he spoke to them. Afterward, all the Israelis came near him, and he gave them all the commands the Lord had given him at Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. But whenever he entered the Lord's presence to speak with them, he removed the veil until he came out. When he came out and told the Israelis what he had been commanded, they saw his face was radiant. Then Moses would put the veil back over his face until he went to speak with the Lord. Oh, and that is it. Yeah. And that's today's reading. Alright, let's go. Let's go. Whoa. So previously I was wrong in the last videos. One of the videos, previous videos, when I was talking about the 10 Commandments. Now officially, see, I thought I knew, but I was wrong. See, I make mistakes. So quick reflection now. It's reflection period. So now Moses officially brought down the 10 Commandments. It says right on the stone, 10 Commandments. Before all that, today's reading was all about how, the people are sinning against the Lord by worshiping a gold calf when the Lord himself, who his name is jealous, a jealous God, hates it. He doesn't approve of it. He's a jealous God, and he's like, nah, this ain't happening. So Moses went down and realized what was going on because the Lord told him to go down there and handle it, and he was going to kill the people. Moses saw him. He himself was upset, and then I guess there was a couple people with swords went down. And they met up at the entrance somehow, and they went and killed 3,000 people. And then that's when Moses went back up on the mountain and officially wrote the 10 Commandments. And I guess his face is messed up because he has to wear a veil. I don't know what happened really. It hasn't said yet, but just being up there and I guess speaking to God kind of did something to him. So yeah. So what? In the presence of the Lord, he takes off his veil, and then when he's in front of his people, he puts on the veil because they're not so they can't handle it, I guess. But yeah, that was today's reading. They were worshiping a gold calf. Imagine just seeing a gold calf and people let's worship it. Kill food for it, eat and dance for it. That's I can see why the Lord would get mad about that. But yeah, good reading. The 10 Commandments are finally up. I'm finally actually reading my stupid ass. I can't believe I fucked that up. Anyways, I enjoyed today's reading. I hope you guys did too. So, you already know who it is. It's your boy, Mucho, and it's time for me to skedaddle on out of here. Peace.